This is by @Quant.network on X, and it reads the following. We are proud to announce that we have joined the UK's preeminent financial services association and will be speaking at UK F-Tweet's flagship event later this month. The Digital Innovation Summit is taking place on the 31st October in London. It brings together speakers from businesses, academia, government, and regulators to explore the emerging technologies that will transform finance. Our founder and CEO, G. Verdian, will be speaking on a session about the digital pound, moderated by Paul Harlock, the Chief Payments Officer of Banco Santander. And Gilbert will share our experience of working on Project Rosalind and outline his vision for the future. Joining Gilbert on stage will be Tony McLaughlin, Emerging Payments and Business Development at Citi, Tom Mutton, CBDC Director at the Bank of England, and Rod Garat, Senior Advisor at biz.org. Find out more and register for the summit at quant.network/news/quant. So a couple of names we see here are well known. Tom Mutton is one of them. He was the one that was on stage with Gilbert when he broke the news that we could not believe he did on Project Rosalind. And initially we're like, is this true? Is this right? Is this wrong? I mean, we kind of knew, but we didn't. You know what I mean? Citi, my apologies. In Dutch, it's city. Yeah, we're English here right now. So, this dude, Tony McLaughlin. Tony McLaughlin. I don't know. I know it's Scottish. Sorry. David Dowie will probably lynch me in my DMs for this. He also had an interesting video I saw in Counchill. I'm not going to pull this up. Look at it for yourself. And Santander is right here as well, right? Which is a pretty big bank. Chief Payments Officer from them, Paul Harlock there. And obviously somebody from the BIS, Bank for International Settlements. So this is a mean crowd. And obviously, the team also has a post on our website. Let's see if I can do something more without repeating myself. So, again, here the announcement. I'm going to repeat myself. We're proud to announce that we have joined the UK's preeminent financial services association and will be speaking at UK's Finance's Digital Innovation Summit later this month. UK Finance is the collective voice for the banking and finance industry, representing more than 300 firms across the industry. It acts to enhance competitiveness, support customers, and facilitate innovation. Quant has joined as an associate member. The Digital Innovation Summit is UK's finance flagship event taking place on October 31st in London. It brings together speakers from businesses, academia, government, and regulators to explore the emerging technologies that will transform finance. Speakers this year include Sabi Bezat, the head of digital assets and currencies transformation at Deutsche Bank, Simon Ecott, the head of payments at NatWest Group, and Ian Stewart, the chief executive officer of HSBC UK Bank. Our founder and CEO, Gilbert Verdian, will be speaking on a session about the digital pound. Moderated by Paul Harlock, Chief Payments Officer at Santander, Gilbert will share our experience of working on Project Rosalind and outline his vision for the future. Joining Gilbert on stage will be Tony McLaughlin, Emerging Payments, Tom Mutton, CBDC Director, and Rodney Garat, Senior Advisor for the BIS. Quant will also have a presence on the exhibition floor, where our team of specialists will be sharing its expertise in digital currencies, programmable money, and tokenized assets, as well as demonstrating of Ledger Platform, the enterprise standard for building on blockchain. UK Finance joins a wider group of quant associations, all working, like us, towards an empowered, interconnected world. So what is really interesting, what we can see here is that, well, as we all know, Gilbert and Quant are the authority when it comes to the digital pound and so on. Because Gilbert will be speaking on a session about the digital pound moderated by the CPO of Santander, and he will share their vision, their experience on Project Rosalind, and he will be talking there with another CEO and the CBDC director. Getting on this stage is great, and it keeps on confirming what we all know, what we already know since Project Rosalind, well before. This is super exciting. What is also exciting is apparently they have a booth, as a lot of you guys love memeing about by now, and so do I, to be frank. So Quant is more and more showing themselves to be actually the foundation of the blockchain economy. And we're getting more and more of this news, and more businesses and banks and so on are acknowledging Quant, sharing the stage with them. This is really great. So all these associations, let me pull this up. Yeah, what are they talking about, right? So this is from the Quant website, quant.network/associations, and it reads, we are members of various associations. I need to put on my kind of British accent for reading the Quant website so you guys know where I'm reading it from. We are members of various associations worldwide that are working towards an empowered, interconnected world. Ready to take your first steps into the future? So we have Engine, part of the Investment Association. Engine is the new name for Velocity, the fintech hub launched by the UK's Investment Association, IA, in 2018. Engine's mission is simple: to fuel the adoption of technology within investment management for the benefits and changing needs of clients. It works with 140 plus fintech firms and partners across the investment value chain to open up tech-driven possibilities and solve the challenges faced by investment firms, both big and small. Engine connects best-in-class fintech innovators like Quant to forward-looking investment managers to transform how the world invests. Okay. So this appears to be a very, very nice, I did not read up on this, a very nice association to be part of. 140 plus fintech firms who will most likely have now heard from Quant and know of Project Rosalind and so on. Many people do not understand the significance of the Project Rosalind announcement, right, and the Quant's involvement there, and the position that Quant has arguably taken. I mean, Project Rosalind was way more than just a proof of concept. Project Rosalind was actually a real world experiment, right? Remember, there was also Amazon and MasterCard. Was it Visa? I believe it was Visa. I'm not sure anymore now. And a couple of other companies, and they all created their own products, their own consumer-facing or business-to-business-facing solution that actually tapped into the Project Rosalind bit. So don't fall for the FUD on X and anywhere else stating that this was nothing, that Project Rosalind was a mere experiment and so on. It was so much more than that. And if anything, it was the best business calling card you can have, because you're being endorsed by the Bank of England, you're being endorsed by the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank for central banks, of central banks. And the quality of your work from then on, to a degree, is no longer disputed, right? Because if you get the acknowledgement by the BIS and the Bank of England, those are arguably two of the largest entities in the world. I mean, authority-wise, not necessarily. In crypto, we always talk money, right? We always talk about how many dollars left, how many euros right. And at the end, it's all about power and who you know and the connections and the networks. I mean, yes, Amazon has a lot of revenue, but Amazon also has a lot of power, right? They have a lot of sway over the businesses that work there. Amazon is a great partner. But there can also be other companies or banks that also have a lot of money going through them, but don't necessarily have the amount of power over the businesses beneath them. I know this is just a little bit crazy to say. Not really sure how I can explain. The other way around is easier, right? The BIS doesn't handle money, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But they do have influence because they are made up of all these central banks, and they guide all these banks, so they have sway over them. They have power. No revenue per se, but they do set the standards for what needs to be done and in what way, to a degree. I mean, they strongly advise. It's not that their way is the only way or the highway. But yeah, you want to keep up with the Joneses. So being a part of this 140 fintech association is really important, in my opinion. We all know the future of finance. The future of finance is not a conference, nor is it a debating chamber, a discussion forum, a networking event, a talking shop, or a think tank. Though it hosts all of these activities, its primary purpose is to change the financial services industry. It aims to achieve our goals through identifying practical measures for change, devising impactful changes to law and regulation, rethinking fiscal, monetary, and economic policies, and promoting innovation, productivity, competition, and stability. So this is also just a group of businesses, stakeholders that want to put their head together and operate from a competition angle, right? So the competition bit we had in the past, everybody was their own bank, everybody was their own thing, everybody did their own thing. And in the end, I mean, everybody's still out there to make profits. But the way with the co-opetition is everybody keeps each other on edge and everybody is working together to a degree. Yes, they still have their secrets and they still have their competitive things. But if they all work together or interoperable, have the same standards and so on, everybody wins, right? Consumers get more choices, they get more clarity to a degree, and everybody gets more revenue and more business. So future finance engine. Then we have the INATBA, we all know, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, public and office public and private developers and users of DLT, a global forum to interact with regulators and policymakers and bring blockchain technology to the next stage. INATBA facilitates positive change in the blockchain ecosystem. Quant is a founding member of INATBA. Our CEO sits on its standards committee, whose role is to promote transparent and inclusive DLT governance and cooperation via liaison with stakeholders, informs policy and regulatory development through close dialogues with policymakers and regulators, and to promote convergence of standards and policies through cooperation to accelerate the deployment for the benefit of society and economies. You can tell that Gilbert wrote this because this was one single damned sentence. There's two commas. There's two commas in the entire sentence. There's the entire thing. I did notice. Then we have the Innovate Finance, an independent industry body that represents and advances the global fintech community in the UK, accelerate leading role. Fintech hubs bring together, connecting the most forward-thinking participants in financial services, helps create a global financial services sector that is more transparent, more sustainable, and more inclusive. And then we have the ITSA, International Token Standardization Association, which aims to promote the development and implementation of comprehensive market standards for blockchain and DLT-based cryptographic tokens. With the rise of decentralized finance, non-fungible tokens, and cross-chain operability, the role of token identification and classification has become an ever-increasing challenge for businesses, researchers, investors, and regulators. Yeah, and I'm not sure, but I think this is new, and I think this is a great sign. It's sorry guys, I have a light here. And I once made a filter for that, but I took the filter off, and now it is just blue light, and it just hurts my brain. It goes straight through me. So the ITSA, Token Standardization Association, never heard of it, I think. But like I said, this is a good sign because this acknowledges what is, as we know, inexistent, is to a degree unstoppable. And because of this, and a lot of crypto, how do you say, hardliners will not like it. But the unregulated experiment failed. Not my words, Gilbert. And the only way for businesses and banks and governments to dive in is when we lose all the let's just send a ton of NFTs to that guy's address and see if he clicks the link shenanigan business, right? That's over. And yes, it will still exist. And yes, a lot of people of you will still gamble there because there's a potential for 100,000x. But most of you lost money, right? And most of you will simply not go there again. But because of that phase, the reputation of crypto just got damaged. And we need standardization associations and such to make sure it all works and everybody keeps on winning. And yes, winners always require other people to lose, or you can win. But the degree by which it is going right now, up until now, is just plain wrong, and it's not sustainable. So governments, banks, businesses will create their own NFTs. They will create their own tokens, and these bodies will help shape that, and they will make sure that whenever you engage with something like that, that your wallet does not get dusted or whatnot, or that at least if you get dusted, everything is identified. Right. So now here we have UK Finance. UK Finance is the collective voice of the banking and finance industry, representing more than 300 firms across the industry. It acts to enhance competitiveness, support customers, and facilitate innovation. Quant is an associate member and sponsor of its flagship event, the Digital Innovation Summit. Right. So I'll leave this in the description. And if you want to dive in further, I highly recommend doing so. Let's move to the price.